666. Princess Di caught the attention of the world. At age 36, I've been trying to catch the attention of the world. I've been creating a movie of the world for the last 10 years. Now I know there's a lot of people out there who like to come in for a screenplay, but you cannot work for me and I have no money. What I need is I need people all over the world to do exactly what you've been doing. It'll be perfect for the movie. I need people sitting on thrones over all nations of government, corporations, and religious cults. I need you to do exactly what you've been doing. Nothing.
You're an animal. You're warm-blooded, you have hair or fur, you bleed. Even a fish bleeds, even though they're not considered a mammal.
All of a sudden my ear goes off. I get stabbed in the back. I get stabbed here.
Be happy for people that are all happy, and if you're not happy with yourself, then you deserve to die.
Man, I've been here 100 years. I'm gonna see another 100.
I've only just started living my life now. And just wait, and when I'm 67, I've only just started living my life now. Wait. And when I'm 88, I've only just started living my life now. Oh, wait. When I'm 120, I've only just started living my life now.
I can know what somebody's thinking before they say it.
I started off with personal development goals, my financial goals, social goals, economic goals, and financial goals. Or I'm sorry, financial, spiritual. Got it all written down. It's on the site at nakedcowboy.com. But basically, I read a book, the book by Anthony Robbins called Unlimited Power, about how to be, establish anything you want in the world. I've taken it to the level of Emerson and Nietzsche. Think and read like them all day long, trying to basically take the Anthony Robbins, you can do anything, to out of the material level and into the spiritual level. I got 100 songs. I got 7 CDs at nakedcowboy.com, my own underwear line called Skid Marks. I got it all, dude.
What are we gonna tell the aliens and the Martians? What are we gonna say to the aliens then?
Are you crazy? Are you insane? No way, Jose, there's nobody out there, only us!
I'm setting a Guinness World Record, fastest tour by a solo performer, fastest tour of the 50 states. I'm playing 50 shows in 50 states in 50 days. I am now in Alaska. This is the 35th state, the first non-contiguous state. I got 15 days to go where I go back home and play Philadelphia. If it's a state, I'm playing it. People always ask me, how about Guam and Puerto Rico? Bite me. Because what I said was, you know what? Screw Guam and Puerto Rico. I'm only going places where they're allowed to vote for president. And my friend said, that ain't true. You played Florida.
No, when I ran away, I went to Arizona for a while, for like a week. It's real dangerous down in Arizona, man. I got my shoes stolen down there.
For me, every day I wake up, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm not afraid of death.
I'm being interviewed right now. Yeah, it's not for a job, silly.
I want to say more and I want to tell you more, you know, because when people see this or when you see this, you know, and to do whatever you're going to do for this project, I have no idea what it is. You know, I almost feel like that I want to sit down and like really analyze and like tell you what's really there. I don't think you can look at one civilization or one party or even one human being and say that this is right or this is wrong. What was the question again?
Actually, we need to have the camera. But God's watching. God's got a better camera than that. And yes, so I have to...
All is in the Creator's image. You and I, the birds and the bees, the flowers and the trees, and even the jackass standing in a field.
I believe in God, but I don't like Him.
It's something you feel in the mind and body.
It's the fear of not knowing what happens next.
Without it, it'd be chaos, man. People would just go mad without religion.
I actually pray pretty much anywhere, but sometimes I ask rocks and trees to help me out.
I will pray for somebody out there who's going to listen to get my red bicycle for Christmas.
I'm trying to be a Buddhist, but it's really hard. It's really hard when you're living out on the streets to try and be like, you know, focused and centered in there.
Oh God, go away.
Most of the wars we had in history were wars because of religion. And even in our modern times, the modern ideologies like Marxism or National Socialism are political religions.
Bullets start flying, the atheists start praying. I've seen that in Korea many a day. It was a wonderful experience.
I'm God, you are God, God is in all things, and it's our duty here on earth to make the most of ourselves. Like Nietzsche said, God is dead, responsibility is in the man himself.
It's our need for regression, religio, to make a binding back to our early childhood. So this is the really meaning of religion, religio from the Latin.
I think in order to define God, you have to know everything, and I also think to deny God, you have to know everything. So I think being an atheist is really the height of arrogance, because you can't know everything. You know everything in the universe. The human being is not omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient.
The egg had to be created by a superior being that had an understanding of how to develop an egg, how to bring forth life from the egg, and then how to give that life that it brings forth from that egg the mechanisms to bring forth another egg to recreate life.
I'm not big on organized religion. There's too much malarkey involved. It interferes with the whole point.
I can understand why Jesus turned water into wine. Even he knew the truth.
Believe in Jesus Christ, our Father, who art in heaven.
I've had domestic disputes with our Lord Jesus because I went to Catholic school.
Yes, I do believe in God. Religion, I think, is something. It's something that you've either got or you haven't, I believe.
I believe God's in everybody. I believe religion's a tool to find God. And once you find God, you throw away the tool.
We're the only creature that, you know, can actually think about what happens after death. So we create all these ideas because we need to know the answers to everything, and so we put it to a God.
Views on religion are whatever gets you through the night.
What you believe in is what you need. If it keeps you alive and it keeps you happy, then it's God.
In our culture in the last century or so, I believe we're becoming increasingly secular, and I don't think we're really asking very deep questions about things. And I think in not asking deep questions, we become shallow. And we become emotionally shallow, we don't care.
Today's society is in great trouble with pagan views, atheistic worldview. We're just too immoral, and the society is going by the wayside because nobody is really following the natural law written on their hearts, and they don't want to follow religion. They don't want to live a life that's good. Everybody's, especially Americans today, are living a life that's really materialistic and selfish. And I think they've got a big wake-up call. Satan's going to be taken over with a one-world religion, one-world government. But they're too sleepy. I think they're the sleepiest people in the world. They're filled with material goods today.
I wish it would die. Religion obviously served a much bigger purpose when there was, when science served a much smaller purpose, and religion it made you feel good about a lot of questions, but and along the way it obviously got corrupted. Religion is the big cause of all the trouble in the world.
Because I think it's easier if you believe. Like you had an answer for important questions, but I studied too much science, and science is not good for the for the soul.
It's not that big of a deal, man. It's a simple question. A, God. B, no God. C, you and your own beliefs. You believe in yourself, and that's all you fucking need, man. That's a Thunder Rosa rock and rhyme right there, man. That's the way shit works, brother. Now what?
Yeah, God's the greatest, man. He's awesome. He's awesome, even better than that last show.
My brother, my sister, and myself all had crosses on our chests, around our necks, jewelry. And the day of my father's mass, for his funeral mass, they all broke systematically.
My nephew-to-be saw me on the net with my boobs on fire.
So I never had to sell hats on the street again.
On this website, and told my father-in-law and my sister-in-law. And then they wouldn't come to the wedding.
When I played a song that I had specially written to be sung in a titty bar, and I finally got my dream come true, about my support of women in the sex industry. And as they tried to dance for a little while and then failed, because you can't dance in my songs, it became even more apparent, like for the first time it became completely apparent that these girls had no pants on as they were standing there not dancing. And it was my song that brought out that harsh truth.
I remember being like 2 years old, living in a house on Belknap in Green Hills, Ohio, running up the stairs with shit falling out of my diaper.
The smells. The smell of the elephants, the sawdust, the smiles of the kids.
My grandmother and picking blackberries on a summer day, and chiggers getting on my body. And blackberries tasted better then than they do now.
But I was about 5 or 6 when Queen Elizabeth II got crowned, and we all got a little mug, blue mug, with the royal crest on. And I can remember going up and being handed this mug in a box, and I've still got it at home somewhere. But why I think of that here, I don't know.
And we went over like a little waterfall, and our canoe tipped over, and I was sent underwater. And my aunt is kind of retarded. She's like not all there. And she was like standing on top of me, like basically like keeping me under the water. And like they couldn't figure out where I was until they realized that my aunt was standing on top of me in the water, and I was like drowning down there.
Working on a Phantom jet during the Tet Offensive in '68.
Lived in a little sod house for 2 years. Yeah, it took about 2 moose a year to feed the family and about maybe 500 fish.
I'm fearing when I was in my bedroom, wondering if my daddy was going to come in and blow my head off. And the memory is gone now because, hell, I'm still standing here.
Doing an open mic down south one time, and I've got a song, Kosovo, and this group of college students were my fans, missed my 30-minute set. And they were promised 40 minutes I'd go up there, and this group of people were drunk doing an off-tune version of Hey Jude by the Beatles. And they were taking the time to put me up there, and all of a sudden there was revolt. Many students took off their shoes and just slammed down. They wanted my name, Kosovo, Kosovo. And I felt proud that I had done something that had moved people, something that won't be forgettable. And
the first time I put a revolver in my mouth and shot a hole on my left cheek. Second time, you know, I was out there with full intention of doing myself in. At one point I had a loaded and cocked 12 gauge in my mouth. I just came that close.
There was a ghost dancer that came out with his face all painted white, and I really wanted a picture of this dancer. And I had a 35mm camera, and the whole time this dancer was out there, I tried to snap picture, and my camera froze and wouldn't snap. But as soon as he went by and I went to snap it at someone else, the camera snapped.
He'd been hit by a car down there, and I drove by, and the only thing laying out in the road was his shoe.
I used to call the cows in the field, and they'd come and gather around underneath the tree. And in fact, I even rode the cows a couple of times.
I can't remember anything.
Okay.
My mind is like a blackboard.
How so?
Every time it gets erased, information's lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This, right now.
I dreamed I woke up and I was in the middle of Times Square in the busiest intersection in the world in my underwear. Wake me up. Maybe it's a nightmare.
All of a sudden, I had a surfboard. All of a sudden, I was riding the tidal wave all around the whole entire world, and then I woke up. And I woke up to a puddle of wee.
After being rescued by Mr. Rourke from Fantasy Island, I ended up in another warehouse with my aloe vera leaf intact, and
the wires would start falling down off the telephone poles, and the next thing I know, I was just covered with wire, and it was just getting real black and real dark.
I was combing my hair or something like that in like the bathroom. The top of my skull came off. I tried to go to bed and tried to keep the top of my head on with a black knit cap, and I was nervous that I was going to fall off all night.
I was really huge, and I was catching comets and cutting them up into stars, and I was designing the sky.
And there was a submarine sandwich floating in space. And I would go up and I would pick off the tiniest piece of shredded lettuce, and this large giant would all of a sudden get mad at me. And I was walking through the parking lot of the gun factory, and all these My Pet monsters came and attacked me, and they kissed me and turned me into a My Pet monster.
Me and a group of guys were on some motorcycles, flying motorcycles, and we're heading towards a supernova, and a nova blew up and blew all our skin off us, in color.
And then you wake up and you have that sense of relief. Oh my God, my dad didn't eat my guitar. That's great.
Oh, I have recurring dreams all the time about bears chasing me. I don't know why.
stung by a bee in my scrotum, and the pain was so unbearable that I was like hallucinating all these like eagles and like these strange creatures like flying about my head and stuff. I was whoa.
Well, I think I smoked a joint once that was laced with PCB or whatever it is, PCP, PCBs, whatever. And I came home from this club and I thought there was a bomb in the phone. And I went up to my brother and I was like, Michael, you gotta help me, there's a bomb in the phone. And because I thought like the United States and Thailand were having labor disputes and the workers like in Thailand where the phone was made got mad at the US companies, so they were planting bombs in the phone. So when I came home I heard this weird clicking on the phone that I never heard before. And then I thought there was a SWAT team outside of my house.
I was once convinced I was a senator for a little while.
All of a sudden, my whole face went all thin and elongated. My ears went all long, like, you know, into like the pinpoints of leprechauns, and I turned green. And color me pink, paint me purple. I was a leprechaun. And I was like, oh my God, I knew I was a leprechaun. I really did.
Just with San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury, and the buildings on both sides of the street reached over and shook hands with each other.
I thought I saw a Volkswagen in our koi pond. How's that?
What was it doing there?
Well, it wasn't doing anything. It was a hallucination.
I was looking at my dog and I thought that I could see every hair on his body individually, but all at once.
And I thought that I saw coffee and donuts going down people's throats like they had transparent glass throats.
We went to go see Ozzy, Metallica, and somebody else at the War Memorial in Syracuse. And we went to go to McDonald's afterwards to go eat. Maybe it was before, I don't know, but we were eating acid. And I chased a cheeseburger. I put a cheeseburger on the top of the roof, and all of a sudden it was just gone. I chased this cheeseburger around the parking lot, only to find out it was on top of the roof the whole time. And acid is your friend. Drugs are your friend, man. They're like MSG for your body. Drugs are great. Take as many as you possibly can. I'm 87! Look at me, I look great! Like shit!
I saw a big Frosty the Snowman, and I could have sworn it was real and sort of like on the street.
Mushrooms, and I was freaking tweaking my ass off. When we first got up to the gate, we're starting to trip balls off. We're all stoned. We opened the window and it's like Cheech and Chong to pay our toll. And the guy who took the toll says, "You guys be careful," and he taps this little sign that says, "Surveillance cameras on at all times." He goes, "Big Brother's watching." I gotta do something that's legal in Alaska. Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Do you hear me now? Oh, let me relight it. I think my pot's gone out.
The drug was administered in a drink of water given at the start of each day's exercise. 25 minutes later, the first effects of the drug became apparent. the men began to relax and to giggle. But this man was more seriously affected and had to be removed from the exercise. After 35 minutes, one of the radio operators had become incapable of using his set, and the efficiency of the rocket launcher team was also very impaired. 10 minutes later, the attacking section had lost all sense of urgency. Notice the bunching and indecision as they enter a wood occupied by the enemy. Almost immediately, the section commander tried to use a map to find the location of troop headquarters, and the prisoner's escort had to have the way pointed out to him, although it was in plain sight, 700 yards away over open country. 50 minutes after taking the drug, radio communication had become difficult, if not impossible, but the men are still capable of sustained physical effort. However, constructive action was still attempted by those retaining a sense of responsibility in spite of physical symptoms. But 1 hour and 10 minutes after taking the drug, with one man climbing a tree to feed the birds, the troop commander gave up, admitting that he could no longer control himself or his men. He himself then relapsed into laughter.
Maybe more dangerous drugs need to be regulated, but marijuana is good for you.
God says in the Bible, I give you every herb for your use, so I guess those would be okay.
The war on drugs is made to look politicians look good, make district attorneys run for higher office, because look what they did on the drug war. But I see it as a kind of a superficial thing.
Speaking about the media, how much have you heard about the war on drugs? It's been honest, straightforward, you know.
I'd rather it be war on drugs than them legalizing it and taxing the hell out of it and making it less easier and less potent for me to get. So go ahead, fight your fucking war. You know, it's never gonna end.
Honestly, I'm for legalization of everything. You know, if that's the choice you make and you want to do that, as long as it doesn't negatively impact me or my family, hey, go for it.
My husband, who was a New York State policeman, was having affairs. And in order to get back at him, I grew my own marijuana. But I used to take my joints to New York police parties. While they were drinking, I would go outside to smoke and he'd come back in. He didn't like that very much. But I thought it was better than just having sex.
It's our own civil war here in this country, and why keep arresting young people? It's not getting anywhere, and we're making criminals out of good people, and we're making good people into criminals.
My biological father, he's a crank junkie, and my whole family is basically walking corpses. And it's just part of my life, you know. Drugs have been part of my life since I was a little kid.
It's a necessity that doesn't work.
What do you think of the war on drugs?
What do I think of Rugrats?
They trump up this problem that America has, and so they need more cops and, you know, whatever else. And so they get more tax money for it, and then they need more and more cops, and they're just ever, I don't know, self-perpetuating.
The war on drugs is a farce. The CIA is one of the world's biggest drug dealers.
It's crazy like that. The world was built on corruption. They wanted a change, the change will come.
The U.S. government is knee-deep in the drug trade. Wherever the U.S. military goes, the drug trade increases. Whether you're talking about Vietnam, Afghanistan, Colombia, it's well documented. It's not anything that anyone can argue about.
I think that's just a reason to keep people working and keep others in jail. It's business. That's all it is.
We may argue about why these things happen, but whenever the U.S. says it's fighting a war on drugs, the drug trade increases.
But I think as a whole, it's government contrived, government funded, and you know, obviously a large portion of that money is going to Area 51.
The sooner they kill the drugs, the better off we'll all be. I wish we were back in the 1800s with the horse and buggy. At least when they were done with that, we had manure for the garden and the garden fed you.
People that own farmland should check it periodically and make sure that there's no unwanted crops growing on it. And if there are, I think they should be reported immediately to the state police.
I was in the service instead of the army tank running over me, the big green machine ran over me instead. And because I got busted with a gram of marijuana, and they put me in Leavenworth for a year.
The people selling it, the people using it, should really be punished, not slapped in their hands.
I think it's a joke. I think it's an incredible waste of time and money, but I certainly believe, at the very least, that marijuana should be legalized. Yeah, with you? That's right. Man, the spot tastes good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I thank you too. Shit.
Take traveler's checks?
The world has waited on them so that they could have their damn old stinking drugs. And I say it's time we started dumping them and cleaning out.
And the war on drugs is the fact that I'm fighting as hard as I can to get as many as I can. And it's just not, I'm not winning. I'm not winning the war on drugs because I don't have enough.
Now it's all the preservatives in the food that's killing people. It's not the smoking the drugs and stuff that's killing people.
Friends that are still dying from AIDS from fucking dirty needles. You know, burying.
You got one that's doing that now, don't you?
I've buried so many fucking people in my life, it's not even funny.
How old are you?
17. It should never happen. Yeah.
You know, we send a lot of people to jail who are low-level flunkies, but, you know, we have a place that we now call well, it used to be called the School of the Americas, but it's just, you know, a school in Georgia to train the dictators who are growing the drugs that we're trying to fight from coming in our country. It's a complete failure policy, I think.
Yeah. You can't really have war on an inanimate object. That's kind of silly.
It's like the war on terrorism. How long are you going to pick wars you can't win? You know, I thought, wasn't that the whole point of Vietnam? Let's not pick any more wars we can't win. It's obviously.
Citizens should be allowed to put whatever they want into their body. It's not the government's business.
They grabbed her and wanted to search all her belongings.
Why?
They said they do a random check. And they picked her.
My concern is that the war on drugs is more than anything else an excuse to crack down on us, just like the alleged need for all the extra security since 9/11.
I love my country, but I fear my government so much.
Yes, I was coming back to the wrong question because I just smoked a bowl of pot. That's marijuana. It's legal here in Alaska because they said so in the appellate court. Oh, did I say that on camera? Yay! I'm in Alaska. I can say that. Whee! Alright. The next question. It's legal! I can do it here! Whee!
He bought a trampoline for his kids, and he sunk it in the ground so they wouldn't break their neck or something. Well, a moose came through, put holes in the trampoline, pooped all over the trampoline, so he had the kids collect the poop. And so he put magnets on them, and he put a little sticker on them that says something about another piece of crap from another crappy gift or something.
A-New Fresh. It's a special salve to make your asshole fresh, and it's made in Switzerland, and it's called A-New Fresh. And it's this cream you rub into your asshole, and it makes it smell pretty. Got a little picture of a daisy on it. I'm serious.
Vending machines in Japan that people buy dirty underwear in.
Bondage Barbie.
Febreze kind of comes to mind just off the top of my head, that if you have a stinky house or a smelly pet laying all over your furniture, rather than address the issue and go and get the stuff clean, we're just going to spray mask over it to kill the odor. You know, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to sit on a couch full of dog pee.
What is canned ice? It looks like a big paint, like a gallon of paint. So I'm like, well, this has to be the greatest technological thing ever. I fucking pop them open with a can opener, and all it is a bunch of water in a big can, and you stick it in a freezer and you freeze it. It's pretty fucking stupid, but at the time I thought it was the most fucking ingenious thing I've ever seen in my life.
A loaf of bread in a supermarket that had not only mayonnaise inside it, but corn kernels and a hot dog inside it, and it wasn't refrigerated.
They ripped out the intestines of a pig. And make it in a hot dog, basically. That's what hot dogs are made out of. Pig intestines.
When I used to go to Utica Devils games, they had this thing called the bubble puck. And it was a puck of bubble gum. And you just bite like a giant chunk. By the end of the night, I'd be chewing this puck of gum. I'd be like, one time I got it caught in my hair because I fell asleep with it in my mouth. And I didn't want my mom to find out, so I cut it out the next day. And it was like, when I went to my hairdresser, she thought she fucked up and she was about to quit her job because she thought she fucked up so bad. I had to confess and be like, a couple weeks ago I got a bubble puck stuck in my hair and had to cut it out.
And it was like this crazy contraption that would dunk your donut for you and put it in your mouth so that you would never have to touch it and get your fingers sticky.
Fart machines that I guess is the technological next century answer to the whoopee cushion, man. I mean, they actually run on remote control. Also, there's
remote control for a car stereo.
I seen something that actually looked at like a bear trap made for the penis.
One of the oddest products I see, these girls with the earrings right through their nose, through their tongues, through their belly button, and every place else. That is disgusting. And they work in restaurants. And where is the Food and Drug Administration to say no earrings for them?
Dildo about 10 foot long.
I wouldn't want that in my soup.
Bottled water.
I think as consumers we're probably not really educated enough. Like where does our stuff come from? For real, like I mean, like where does this water come from? Like where's the source of my water? But that's not really, I don't know, but you drink it anyway, right?
Now, people often ask how the natives are able to survive and what type of economy is established within this desert land. And millions of years ago, there was water that covered much of this terrain in the form of inland seas, oceans.
Said the ozone, with the way they're putting things up there and not bringing them down, they're going to the ocean and they're destroying.
We just conserve and consume every natural resource and until it's gone and then move to another place.
People are a virus.
You know, but the problem is we've run out of places to move.
The population's increasing at an exponential rate, and if we don't deal with some of these issues, they're going to come up and bite us in the ass within 1 or 2 generations.
People think that they're not going to be here in 50, 100 years, so why worry about it?
People don't realize that Greenland is melting, and eventually a big piece of it's going to break off, and it's going to definitely affect the United States.
I don't know about global warming, but it's awfully hot here in Utica, New York in October.
The guys who make their living promoting that there's global warming, etc., obviously didn't spend the winter of 2003 in upstate New York.
We should take everybody who is not for environmental causes and bury them beneath the most endangered trees.
I broke up with a boyfriend because he wouldn't hug a tree. That's big fig tree. I said, like, if you really love me, would you hug the tree? And he goes, I love you, but I'm not going to hug the tree. Why wouldn't you hug the tree? Because it's like stupid. But you're not stupid, you're hugging a tree, so hug a tree. No, well, you're dumb.
Trees make air, and there are animals in the jungles that eat the leaves off the trees and that.
I think this world is slowly coming to an end.
But if people are vegetarians and they use solar energy, we might have a chance.
The smallest thing affects everything else.
And they cut it down. It could be an herb that will no longer, it no longer exist. It'll be extinct, just like you.
species are going extinct. And what needs to be done about it is completely changing our industrial model of civilization. We need alternative technology. We need to get rid of all this gas guzzling technology.
I think a good first step would be just like get rid of capitalism.
Get rid of half of these spray cans and whatnot. Get rid of, go back to the detergents you had years ago.
I would hope that the countries of the world and the people of the world see that we need to address this issue and take care of things, or we're all going to be in big trouble.
Humanity is more in trouble than the ecological system, because the Earth can renew itself real easily. It's done it a lot of times before, and humanity's messing around. It just kind of gobbles it up and starts again. So.
We're all gonna die by the hands of fucking Mother Nature, and it ain't gonna be fucking pretty.
It's just, to this point now, it's kill or be killed anymore, whether it be plants, whether it be animals, whether it be other human beings.
We need electric cars, we need our rail lines back, we need lots more bicycles, we need much better urban planning so that people are working and living in the same neighborhoods, not having to commute, all that and a lot more.
I think big business gets in the way, and big business controls governments, and it stops governments doing the things they ought to do. Too many lobbies, too many powerful lobbies. So I think it's going to be a really tough call to make it work worldwide.
It's a common sense issue. When are we going to wake up and just know that clean water and clean air is really important? Yeah.
You need to strike a balance between money and ecology, but I really think at some point in the 21st century we're going to finally see what many of the cries about the environment. We weren't like little children crying wolf.
There's no respect for anybody anymore. There's no respect for our planet. We take everything for granted,
Especially in America.
Ecology? You mean like the ecosystem?
Yes.
I think everything's a perfect balance and always has been, always will be. And anybody who thinks otherwise is just a scared pussy.
For our future generations, if it's not too late now, it's already fucked for them. I guarantee you, 100%.
Too much pollution in there. Like cars and stuff.
Waste is our greatest product.
We need to consume less.
The very thing that's driving and destroying the planet is the demand for a constant stream of material goods that we buy and throw away and buy again.
I think the environment parallels to the pollution in people's cells. I think it's just a picture of how sick people are today.
You got your bushes and these others who are like rolling back all the advances we made, to kind of curb the destruction to our ecology. It's got to stop. Period.
I think also we're in tremendous trouble thanks to the Republican Party and George Bush and their views on ecology, etc. They look at it as a wall and their way to making money.
Yeah, even Elmo knows.
Frogs being born with all kinds of defects, and frogs will be the first to exhibit any kind of abnormalities. We've got to change this. There's one of us that has a voice, and pretty soon there has to be all of us.
Two of the biggest problems are the overdependence on fossil fuels. Of course, trains are energy efficient, but we have an administration that sells fossil fuels. The oil interests run things. There certainly isn't enough to go around. The other is the population explosion, which still continues, not quite unabated, but close to it, and which also has people living in places where there won't be very much water to go around. Between the pollution and the population, the global ecology is in very deep trouble, and this may be the way the system gets rid of excess humans, is just to make the environment unlivable so not that many of them keep on going.
Chickens are going to come to roost.
The moving walkway is now ending. Please look down. The moving walkway is now ending. Please look down.
The industry itself is so business related. All the towers look the same.
All those buildings are cold and empty.
I can go to any town, anywhere in the USA, and the goddamn street looks the same.
Like when they make all like the Walmarts and stuff, like why do they have to knock down every goddamn tree in the parking lot? I don't understand. Like that really bothers me. That hurts my feelings because trees are good, because if you have trees, you know, your car won't be as hot in the summer.
I would like to see more trees saved. Not saying I'm a tree hugger, but it looks a lot better and it's a lot nicer to be able to go outside and not just see cement everywhere you look.
It's convenient, but aesthetically vacant.
Because you paying when you see them, paying in your eyes.
There's like gigantic little cardboard boxes everywhere.
I prefer an architecture not so much monumental, more human maybe.
Oh yeah, the ground zero. Oh man, if you saw the blueprint for this thing, it's ghastly.
Oh, my dream city would be a combination of old historic. It would be dinosaurs combined with space.
I want to live in Disneyland. I love Disneyland. Not Disney World, because I've never been there. Disneyland, absolutely Disneyland. That's the place to be. Clean. Like a Mormon town.
Oh man, mine would be a glass tower with lights like that, man, just all kinds of it with naked women even.
My dream city would be mostly green space with gardens and forests and bike paths.
My dream city would be, like I said, we would be able to save a lot of money on toilets, and I would like to see men's and women's and little girls' rooms and little boys' rooms. I'd like to see it become one.
My dream city would be, I'm in the GTA 3 game, Liberty City, and I have a sniper rifle killing both Britney Spears and Jennifer Lopez. Not to mention Martha Stewart.
The Romans created things, or the Egyptians, or the Greeks, or so many civilizations with greater intent than the concept of profitabilities.
It's pyramid shaped out in the middle of Tokyo Bay, and there's no cars in it, and it all runs on algae and seaweed. It looks like it was designed by Liberace and the Jetsons.
I don't think my dream city would have much to do with aesthetics more than the human condition inside of it. Aesthetics means nothing if it's pretty on the outside, it's corroded on the inside.
My dream city would be clean and beautiful, and there'd be a lot of acrylic.
And the whole purpose of life is to be happy, have a sense of belonging and fitting in. Well, in this society, we don't do that. In cities, you can live next door to somebody in New York City in an apartment building for 20 years, and they never say hi to you. So I'm not interested in cities, really.
I think you got to go back to smaller neighborhoods where people know each other more.
Start thinking about the people that actually have to live in the cities, not what the corporations want and what the car industry wants. And
that was a community where people did not need cars to get around, where everything was within walking distance.
Definitely safe avenues for cycling, walking.
So if people left the community for some reason, it would be because they wanted to go elsewhere, not because they were required to.
We got to start building some super highways where we can go from place to place in no time. You know, we won't have to make too many zigzags, and just, you know, some super highways I'm talking. And make some vehicles, instead of making the vehicles so small, make some big vehicles. Not just like the SUV types, which are really not that big. They're just an average car with a big top on it. So if we made a car the size of a bus or something, I mean, you know, you make some vehicles that are big and you put them on these big highways, it'll be really nice, man. You know what I mean? As far as buildings and architecture goes, you know, don't build so high, let's go wide, let's see what happens. You know, make a building like a mile, 2 miles wide or something, you know what I mean?
You would be able to walk everywhere. You'd be able to walk or ride your bike. Sounds like a fucking hippie thing to say, man, but Hey man, you know, if I can get to somewhere cool.
Running around looking up, trying to find a small piece of sky. And all the people in business suits would be looking down at their shoes, making sure they were extra shiny before they went to work.
But I don't think buildings should be any more than 2 or 3 stories high. It obstructs your view of the stars and the sky, and you know, and when fucking life sucks, man, sometimes you have nothing more than to look to the skies and things like that. That's what keeps me going. It's what keeps most of the people I know going.
The moving walkway is now ending. Please look down.
If you can harness and control the media, you can harness and control the world. Whoever has the best access to the media is going to get their message across the best. And whoever's got the greatest message will ultimately dominate that. That's why I know that my king reign on planet Earth as king is uninhibited. Uninhibitable.
Poppycock. Poppycock.
We're trashing our minds with the garbage that we put on them via television.
We need to get a bigger picture of what's going on.
All that shit is all propaganda.
So much fear on the news. I don't watch the news. I can't stand it.
I think that we're going whatever way they want us to be. They want us to be in love with another man, then we're in love with another man. If they want us to be a soldier, then we're a soldier. But it seems like they push it very hard on us. We don't have an opportunity to think for ourselves.
In democratic countries, we vote what we think, and we think what they want us to think, and that's the media. But the media belongs to powerful people.
I don't watch the news anymore just because I don't believe in it. Everything's really political. Everything's really patriotic now. You know, buy your flags.
Very slanted. I think it's very liberal.
Media is owned by the global elites. The Zionist Jews own the media, and they all set it up ahead of time. And I think anything that is contrary to their agenda is dismissed.
I like to watch the NBC Nightly News, and I call it the comedy half hour.
I think news anchors are my personal favorite cartoon characters, really. I mean, they're far more entertaining than Bullwinkle.
Take and turn on CNN, headline news, turn down the sound, and just watch. Try not to laugh.
Too much of the media pie is getting smaller and smaller. Oh, you got people like Rupert Murdoch seem to own half the planet.
The media has gone way down over the years as major corporate interests have taken it over. Media is oligopolized like everything else.
The vast majority of the stuff that reaches us is
controlled by large corporations
with a political agenda, and they're lying constantly.
But nobody seems to care.
It's reflecting corporate perspective.
So there's never any chance you're going to hear anything that is outside the spectrum of stuff they want you to hear.
Which is nothing that should be of interest to most people because it doesn't reflect our interests.
It gives probably a distorted picture of the world because it's very selective and you only see what they select and you see it from that particular country's perspective.
If they're really fair and balanced, why do they gotta say it so often?
You know, blow up your TV, guys, because it's feeding you all the wrong information. I hate the TV.
The truth is completely lost because it's not profitable.
I think the truth is always very different from the things you see.
There is no differentiation between the government and the media. The mainstream media, anyway. Don't you agree, ma'am?
Yes.
I refuse to answer!
It's pumped up to sell, to make their ratings.
The news function now is part of the commercial function, no longer independent from it.
They have 8 or 9 commercials for about 2 or 3 minutes when you're watching the news. And actually, when they do that, it throws you off on what you're really watching. You don't really, you know, and it seems like the audio when you want to watch something. it fades out instead of being like it should be. You know?
I think it's a good thing because the more information, even if it be false, gets out to the public, it makes an awareness that puts people at, on gives people, intelligence and ways of communication that might not have it any other way. So I think that all communication is good, whether it be bad or good communication. It's just
sad that the news are so close-minded and
alarmist, hyperbole, over-exaggerated, histrionics, anxiety-creating, and tainted.
Media just ruins everything for fucking everybody. And that's the deal. There ain't no rock and roll, there ain't no respect, there ain't no love anymore. And the media has desensitized everybody. And that's fucking wrong. Why don't you take a hike, fat girl? Sorry.
I like how it's on every single channel though. I can watch stuff blowing up like all day and night. That's cool.
They all same. I've been here 20 years, same story, same thing, nothing. All of them they turn out the bad things, fires, people are dying. I get tired of listening to them. Can you give me some kind of homeless happiness? Okay, looking for one day at least they had. Thank them.
Most of it can be confusing, I think, for most people. And it can instill things, emotions that people wouldn't necessarily have, except for the way that it is presented and sensationalized, and we are bombarded. So in a lot of ways it's a disservice.
There's so many things that are coming at us so fast, so intense right now that it can be really confusing to that.
It's confusion.
More in depth. I think you can't do it in a half-hour broadcast where you get like a 2 or 3 minute slot per item. I think nothing's as simple as that.
But they all focus on the same thing. Like you can switch around the channels and everyone's talking about the same thing at the same exact time. Same thing with the radio stations. You can flip around and hear the same song on 5 different stations. And I bet if you traveled across the United States, you can hear the same song on different stations throughout the states.
Tough to get some independent, thoughtful, revolutionary media going on in this country.
I'm a news junkie, I guess you would have to say, because for me it's being informed, and I think informed citizens are good citizens.
Television news is a... Wait, can I swear?
Sure.
Okay, it's a crock of shit.
Television knows a lot of crap, and the media's a lot of crap.
I think that it's just like any other program. I think that most of it's staged and that they just follow a script.
They don't go for the stories that really make a difference.
If a two-headed kitten is born, oh my God, that's the lead story.
It's nothing more than sensationalism to distract our attention away from the real stories that we should be told about.
There's so many things happening in the world, and then okay, they spent 20 minutes on grandma who got bitten by some dog.
Why doesn't anybody watch C-SPAN? Nobody wants to see. Well, we're voting on Measure 344-9, and we're going to go over Provision 14 in subsection 5. Now, this deals with a... Nobody's going to watch that. They're going to watch, here's a man driving 80 miles an hour down...
And I do enjoy it very much. Much better. I want to know what's going on in this world.
I've been a lot better off since I stopped watching it.
The half-hour news report that we hear or whatever is basically public relations. And I think the only way around it is if regular Joes, don't just sit around and go, hey man, that really sucks, and not watch news. Just create their own news about their lives, like doing a zine or, doing a documentary about what real people are like and stuff like you are.
It's who we are. It's a progression into some kind of new enlightenment age.
What it allows people to do now is people without a voice before who should be heard, and deserve to be heard, who have ideas and want to share those thoughts and ideas. It gives them an opening to do that.
I think information is very important and makes our society more democratic.
You can research anything on the internet, so obviously that's a positive thing. However, you can also look up, how do I make this bomb or that bomb? How do I murder my wife?
It is the most wonderful and most dangerous thing that's ever happened to this earth.
The internet was created by Tim Berners-Lee, not Al Gore, for you know, so like doctors and scientists and stuff can share their information, especially between England, like between Oxford and Harvard is actually how it started. And somehow like this got turned into like porn are us, like any fetish. Like I was hearing on a radio show the other day, they said any weird fetish that somebody had cooked up in their head before, they would just keep to themselves in a dark closet and, like, you know, just feel ashamed about it, just keep to themselves. The internet gives people a breeding ground for this. And you could come from all around the world. People have the weirdest, sickest fucking shit on their mind. And the internet is the way for them to get it out, it seems. That's what I think about the information age. Barbie was actually learning stuff on the internet the other day. I go, you gotta be the only person that actually goes to the internet to learn shit and learn how to do something. You know, because you always plan on going on there and be like, well, I want to learn about, you know, the whales of Madagascar, or, you know, like the pygmies of Malaysia, or some weird shit. But then, of course, you know, you get that porn banner and it just links to another one, and next thing you know, you got 15 porn sites on your computer and you're trying to click them off, but they won't click off, and then you have to restart the Internet Explorer, which is total bullshit because Netscape was so much better before Microsoft bought it, and then, you know, the whole thing crashes and you restart your computer. You go, yay, I should have got a Mac.
Well, I think that's been great, but it's also ruined a lot of people's lives. I think that's probably the reason for divorce. I think it's hurt society as much as it's helped us. We know a lot. We know too much, probably.
You can get a lot of information, but whether you actually want it or need it.
My mom does not need a cell phone, though she has one. Why? I think everyone just wants to keep up with everyone else, and I think technology we should be moving towards, you know, like eliminating world hunger or something worthwhile like that, instead of saying, hey look, now you can get, like, you know, the Simpsons theme song on your fucking cell phone. That's bullshit.
These phones, you were better off when they only had 4 buttons on them. Who needs 8 buttons?
People, because they can communicate, because they can do these types of things, that they trivialize it by instant messaging. What are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. Oh, what are you doing later? Don't know. What about you? Haven't thought about it. Give me a call later. Okay. See you. Bye. Oh, I've got instant messaging. Isn't that a great thing? What's so great about it?
I think it's good to have the same technology that we've had for years. You know, everybody has that same ability to do whatever they wish, like making films or recording music or reading books or what have you. I mean, the technology is there for a reason. You know, you just got as much power as the rest of the guys who used to have more power than everyone else.
Information age is just a way of corrupting the world. Satan's channel of communication.
The computers are going to destroy us. They're going to rise above and destroy us. They're working on our brains right now. They're turning our brains into mush.
It's more and more the machine. I feel like now I'm just robotically moved by, you know, everything from phones to computers to, I'm just controlled.
We're going to be the determiners of where things go, what we expose ourselves to, not some suicidal scientific instinct.
So maybe sometime we go to the moon to live. You never know, but we need science to do it.
It's a wonderful, easy, quick way to communicate with people. Once we got our website, which is museumforkids.net, we got that on Museums of the World. We have people from around the world that find us by surfing the internet. And it's like, remember back when we first started with the information age, it was like HTTP//. Now all you got to do is say museumforkids.net. You don't even have to say the www.
I think it's good. I think, well, we have to think it's good because that's the way the world's going. Everybody's relying on computers, email.
And I live for a handshake. I live for a hug. I live for a phone call. I live to hear somebody's voice. That's what it is. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to see your fucking emails. I don't want to see your fucking, your fucking pictures through some computer.
It's out of control now. When I've got my little nieces and nephews that, are able to sit down and play their Sega Genesis and their PlayStation and master that. But when I ask them, who's the last Charles Dickens novel you read? Who's Charles Dickens? There's a problem.
Computers are used the same way as TV is for lots of people, and it prevents people from actually experiencing their life.
They are very addicted to always get information like me, but always I have to go to internet to check something. This is a kind of addiction, but people don't anymore trust their own feelings and emotions.
I think it's actually really screwing with our magnetic fields. Is that the word? We're totally off balance now. We're just all we're not authentic, true.
The way technology is evolving, if people just keep evolving that way, people are going to forget about things like what we're doing here and where people came from.
I think it's made our young generation, our children, a lot less social.
I don't want my child to be so deep in computers and video games. I want her to know that when a computer fails, she got the sense enough to know what she needs to do.
That's right.
They come into this world, they don't know nothing but how to eat and sleep and cry. And then you gotta teach them.
You have to teach them.
And that's a fact.
That's a parent's responsibility.
Exactly.
Not the TV, not the computer.
No, right.
None of that crap.
That instead of technology always leading us forward, we need to lead technology to a place where it doesn't dominate our lives and control us utterly.
The trouble is they use it against us too. You see a state trooper go by, he's got the best video cameras in the world.
Anything that could give the government another chance to infiltrate your life and question your political views or your idealism is something that should certainly be scrutinized. And
I think there's an issue where technology will get so far ahead that no one will understand it.
Next year we'll know 4 times as much as the increase of the year before. It's kind of scary, it puts a whole new spin on human evolution.
They're moving too fast. I mean, one day you buy a computer and you pay so much for it. Down the line, a year from now, the one you've got is too slow to catch up with the one the guy has next door.
It's moving fast. Wait.
A little past me, a little too fast for me.
That even though they did not have any concept of the wheel or they didn't have any pack animals available to them,
You're kind of made to feel like you have to have it.
.coms are all based on purchasing what you think that you cannot live without, and because you only live in Idaho, you didn't know that you were missing.
More, faster, box it up, package it, sell it, send it, do whatever you can as quick as you can. Rush order delivery.
We got along all right before computers. Why should you be thrown into a tizzy because you can't use the computer? I mean, there should be a backup plan.
But it's almost as if people need to latch on to every new innovation that comes down the pipe for the purpose of feeling connected. I don't know what it is.
It's confusing. It's a really confusing time to be alive right now.
I'm getting left behind, and I really don't mind it. I would just as soon have lived 50 to 75 years ago.
I think as we get more inundated with constant information, constant updates, I think the value of information will be cheaper, or be cheapened, and I think eventually people won't really have an idea what anything means.
I think we're evolving. I feel that the progress has been relatively slow. However, after Chernobyl, it did speed up quite a bit because small doses of radiation will accelerate consciousness. And that was also about the time of the harmonic conversion. So I think it did accelerate. And there's within the next few years we're going to go through a photon belt, and it will very much depend on where your consciousness is at the time, whether you'll pass through or not.
Maybe so few people actually use their minds for thought that I can see a future where our brains are like the size of walnuts, like dinosaurs or something like that, and then we'll go extinct. I don't know. It's possible.
I think mankind's evolution is definitely not biological. I think it's in the hands of technology by now.
It's evolving in the sense of technology. I think it's losing a lot of humanity.
Because I think every step we make forward, we lose part of the innate sense of being human.
We're going way out of control, man. We're going way out of control, bro. De-evolving, certainly.
Mankind is on its way out. All this science that we got, all this technology, we're going to wind up killing ourselves after a while. You know, we're going to be that endangered species. We're going to be extinct like the dinosaurs.
Never a time so many people had a good life than today, but there are still a lot of people who have a very bad life, and we have to have a look on this and try to have a development.
We're getting more and more appliances and stuff, and we're just falling backwards.
Going backwards.
We're digressing, but go down the fucking toilet. Don't be that
way. People just don't give a darn what they do anymore.
As I'm driving around playing state to state, I'll judge that on a state-to-state basis. For instance, I think that they're pretty evolved in Oregon. They seem pretty evolved. In Utah and Missouri, not so much.
Christ, there's these weird Neanderthal sort of people that wander around in malls with like size 13 Nikes.
You got some people that look like they Cro-Magnon, man, for real. You know what I mean? You got some people that look like, you know, like aliens and shit.
Mankind is devolving.
When's the last time you heard of a whale going on a killing spree and raping young whales? Telling a pod of whales to kill themselves because they saw God. Never. We're so smart.
So human beings have always been a violent bunch of son of a bitches. And we continue to be a bunch of violent son of a bitches. I mean, there's always been torture. People have always, you know, had a picnic at a good hanging.
It's forever in time. if you're in a cave and you want something, you're gonna bash the guy's head in with a rock and take it. Today, if you want something, we were just discussing diplomatically ways we can reroute the... It's the same thing, you're killing me, but you're doing it different. You're
evolving in the aspect that we're learning more about the universe, learning more of what makes us who we are, where we came from, de-evolving in the way that intense greed, malice, these kinds of things that tend to hold us back.
To say something is devolving or evolving is a value judgment on changing. We're definitely changing. Since we don't have a scope really towards what is in the future and what is required of us to survive in the future, then we don't know whether or not the changes that are happening now are for the good or for the bad.
I think mankind is evolving because it's all a learning experience. It's so all a learning experience.
Oh, definitely evolving. And a matter of fact, I think the parts of us that are, quote, devolving are, it's kind of like just something getting purged.
Nature, as Emerson says, is in the constant state of amelioration. Amelioration means to make or grow better. Of course it's getting better. Everything's getting better. At least I am.
Rats and cockroaches are evolving. Human beings are devolving.
Absolutely. Oh, I think we're evolving. Yeah, we're advancing a lot. But I think sometimes we're advancing too fast. And we're going to destroy ourselves.
I don't think that if we keep going the way that we're headed, that society's going to last for very long.
And just to quote Albert Einstein, when they asked him, how will World War III be fought? Will it be fought with nuclear, or will it be fought with missiles or conventional warfare? He said, I don't know, but I do know how World War IV will be fought, with sticks and stones.
Now, I will say this. All nuclear warheads are in my image, and I'd like to see them packed up and put back in my toolbox before somebody gets hurt.
We've topped out, we're going down now.
What's your next question? We're little piddles. We're like, think. We're a second on the space, on the finger flick of the space-time continuum. We're nothing. We feel very self-important. But this too shall pass.
The Bible says we're living in the last days. This generation will see the world end.
Part of me hopes that it comes true because I would love to be here during the end of the world. Yeah, you know, that'd be awesome.
I believe that in probably 100 years we will have destroyed ourselves in some form or fashion. There is too much evil in the world, too much justification for that evil, and too many people who don't want to do anything about it.
I'm glad I'm not going to be here.
I don't think it'll be here.
There's a few people that have said that.
All the rights are going to be gone. The world's going to be so corrupt. You think there's like a demon on this earth, a demon that we breathe and smell and we walk around. You know what I mean? We'd all be possessed in this underground world, which I call Armageddon.
I think the world is going to disintegrate by itself, you know, I mean, like mortality and all that. It's just going to be terrible, like Mad Max or something, you know.
When I come back as a butterfly or something,
in 100 years, I don't know, I think there's gonna be some sort of like, there's gonna be some sort of like an explosion of some sort happening. Like, something is gonna get shooken up like so much that it's gonna change.
By that time, I think they're going to have pretty much captured the outside of all the states and the big one in the middle.
The end of the world means the end of Lucifer's heaven on earth. All fear, worship, greed, hate, jealousy, it's going to get wiped off the face of this earth. And if you don't think it isn't, you better take a look.
I could see, you know, really things like wars just dissipating as we become to mold and mold and mold and melt together more and more.
How I see the world in 100 years is...
I'm probably gone.
Gone, gone, gone.
Gone.
Destroyed.
Dead.
Who knows if we'll last that long? Yeah, no kidding. I don't see the human race even lasting that long. It's kind of a failed experiment. Yeah. I have no respect for the human race whatsoever.
We're not going to be here much longer because we're bad people.
I don't see that the people really have the guts and the inspiration to make the changes that are necessary to be made.
But I think we're going to survive. Human beings are survivalists.
You think we'll survive?
Yeah.
I don't think we'll. I have a feeling we're not going to survive.
See?
I have a feeling it's...
You're a pessimist. You don't believe
Hey,
it.
I'm an optimist. No, ever.
Well, you said we wouldn't survive. You're a pessimist.
At least I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
If we don't get wiped out, corporations are going to completely own everything, which they pretty much do now anyway, but it's going to become more blatant.
We're typically too self-absorbed in our own existence to consider the future like that.
Hopefully over.
Hopefully?
Hopefully.
Why do you say that?
I'll be gone, so it really wouldn't matter.
I don't want to be around.
Yeah, I probably don't want to be here.
I think it will be a very scary place.
In trouble, really, probably.
I don't think it's going to be a very nice place to live.
I'm afraid to think.
I don't even want to think about what the world's going to be 100 years from now.
How to share ideas concerning our children's future to help roaring lions become purring kitty cats.
If it keeps going the way it is, we probably won't have this world.
And until we all pull together as one loving spirit, this world's going to hell in a bucket.
I think the time cycle, how time moves has really, the steamroller effect is really starting to speed up it. I think things are moving along a lot quicker than they ever were before. I think
I have trouble seeing the world tomorrow. It happens so fast. So
faster computers, us flying in flying cars, faster planes.
What will it all mean?
think you have?
I think there'll probably be about 1/10 of the population there, and we'll be living very primitively.
Ice caps might melt, and New York, and Los Angeles, and all those major cities around the coast, everywhere, is going to be flooded.
It'll be very different. And I'm not so sure that we'll be in bodies at that point.
I definitely do believe that good things are happening and that consciousness is spreading at a rate that it will never be stopped, and it will only keep increasing. And I'm so glad to have a front row seat in this lifetime to what's about to happen here.
Maybe George Jetson will take over. So, that's all I can hope.
Either there's going to be one religion or it's just going to be a bunch of cavemen because somebody's going to get stupid and do something like start a war.
Yeah, it's never going to settle down. We're never going to have peace and harmony.
I would hope that transportation would come along, and I suppose it has to, because we're just going to run out of oil, or we're going to use up our friends in the Mideast, such as they are.
We either can radically transform these social and political and economic relations within our society and around the world, or we face a future of ecological holocaust, wars over water and oil and other resources, which are of course already happening, which are only going to get worse if we keep on going the way we're going. And these are two very stark choices. One is more war, more terrors, and more poverty, more starvation, and ultimately ecological holocaust. And the other possibility is sanity, which is going to have to be ecological, social, economic sanity.
Oh, in 100 years, I'm sure we're going to be living underneath the ocean. We will be living in outer space.
We need to wake up on this planet. We really need to get off cloud nine and wake up, do some deep thinking, because it can save us. I think our main accomplishment in the 21st century will man have survived himself.
I think after Satan's takeover, I think God's coming back, the good Lord himself, and I think it might be pretty beautiful.
We're either going to self-destruct or come to some sort of peaceful agreement, and I'm scared.